within the first 6 weeks, we
Hmm.
had 2 listing agreements signed, and then also 4 listing appointments in 1 week, which was crazy.
4 in-person appointments with
Yeah.
people looking to sell their house in one single week.
So before I was mostly all buyers. So I got to clear my schedule for these listing appointments.
Yeah, too many.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, Aaron Chandra here, founder of Lead Gen Pros. I got a real treat for you guys today in that we're interviewing one of our current real estate partners, Dylan Sievering, out in North Carolina. Dylan, why don't you give us just a quick introduction about who you are, what you do, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron. Thanks for having me. My name's Dylan Sievering. I am a North Carolina real estate broker. I buy and sell for clients out here in the Triad to Triangle in North Carolina, which is Raleigh and Greensboro.
Right.
And that's what I do.
And you invest in real estate yourself as well. Hey, you got a handful of, I don't know if I can say this, but you got some investment properties. You're doing some cool stuff there as well, hey?
Yeah. So in the last, I started investing in real estate in 2022. So I'm creeping over into year number 3 here. We've picked up 4 doors, a little over $1 million in real estate since then. So we're looking to keep growing and keep going. Yeah.
There you go. So if you're looking to invest in real estate too, Dylan's your guy. So Dylan, if we can maybe start with this, why don't you tell us a little bit about where you were before you started working with us, maybe in terms of either revenue or just maybe even how you were getting business.
Yeah. So before I started working with you, I was mostly all buyers. So I hadn't represented any sellers. I was buyers only, and I had done, I think, 12 transactions in the previous 12 months. My
Mm-hmm.
first 12 months, actually. So I was 1 year in, 12 transactions, all buyers, and I think it was close to 3 million in volume
Right,
for year 1. Yeah.
right. Which is good for year one, but it was all on the buyer side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what
It was
what
good.
and what maybe prompted you to say, hey, like the buyers are cool and all, but I want to start switching to possibly working with sellers.
So I was always doing tours. Like I remember when we
Mm-hmm.
first started talking, like I was like, I don't want to keep doing 5, 6, 7, 8 p.m. tours with buyers that randomly call me,
Mm-hmm.
and structuring the business around listings is easier to grow that operation and control your schedule a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was some of the big factors there.
Yeah, and you say easier to manage your schedule kind of in what sense? Like more so in the sense of, hey, I can manage more sellers at once compared to buyers, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think
Mm-hmm.
the statistic or not the statistic, but what I was always told is for one buyer that an agent's able to transact, you can do 4 listings. So you can handle more at one time,
Mm-hmm.
and creating your schedule representing sellers allows
Mm-hmm.
your schedule to more of set stone appointments. You can
Mm-hmm.
set appointments. They're not houses come on the market whenever they come. So a buyer
Mm-hmm.
is drastic and they want to go do a tour right then and there. But
Right.
sellers seem a little more structured and balanced.
Well, a little
Yeah.
more reasonable, hey. Just as
Yeah.
everyone watching this, as a general note, anytime you're working with lead gen, seller leads are typically going to be a little bit higher quality compared to the buyer side, just because of the fact that they own some real estate, so they're a little more financially qualified. Um, Now, I guess prior to working with this, Dylan, obviously we generated seller leads for you exclusively, but did you do anything in regards to lead gen before working with us?
You say for lead generation?
Yeah, just like anything in terms of online ads, working with agencies, Zillow, some of the big guys, anything like that?
Yeah. So I tried a few different things on my own, but yeah,
Yeah,
my main source of leads that came in were Zillow leads. Yeah.
yeah. And how did maybe our process vary from what you were doing with the guys over at Zillow?
So the training is night and day different.
Mm,
Like working with you, hands or face to face on a weekly basis of going over scripts and going over recent calls and handling objections and handling clients and follow up and whatnot. So the training is uncomparable. Really,
nice.
it's good. Yeah, and then quantity, obviously,
Hmm.
much more incoming leads working with you opposed to Zillow. I think Zillow, I was getting 3 to 3 to 5 a month or something crazy
Mm.
uh, of low quality.
Quality has been a factor as well from compared to our seller leads versus Zillow.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, it's hard to compare the seller leads to buyer leads, but
Hmm.
yeah, I would say they were higher quality.
Yeah, higher quality in what way? Like they pick up the phone or like what? Yeah. Correct
Right.
info or
Yeah, getting people to answer the phone, of course. So,
yeah.
like working with you, these people are giving me their phone number and their
Hmm.
name and their address. They're far more likely to answer the phone, opposed to
Hmm.
somebody on Zillow may just accidentally click the button and
Yeah.
they think that that's my listing, and they think that I own the house. They
Hmm.
think that I'm there right at that moment. So, uh, yeah, I would say higher quality with Lead Gen Pro
Yeah.
in that aspect.
Right. With Zillow, or just I don't want to single out Zillow, but with a lot of companies, you'll get the kind of the generic ads. You don't even might not even know what ads they're actually running for you. You just get a list of leads or whatever it is, and then by the time you call them, it's like, who are you and why are you
Yeah,
calling me, right? Did
yeah,
you ever
right.
get that like previously with your other companies? I don't want to put words in your mouth though, so
Yeah, yeah, all the time, all the time. Like
yeah,
you call them and they are like they don't know who you are,
yeah,
or they've never heard your name. They just want to
right,
go look at the house, or they just want to
yeah,
know what their home value is, or whatever the situation is. Yeah, all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Now you mentioned with Zillow, like there wasn't that many leads. With us, you mentioned maybe a little bit better lead quality, but also quantity, volume wise, we're getting you way more than 3 to 5 leads, or three-ish leads a month, right?
Yeah,
Um, so in regards to then the time commitment required, can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think a lot of agents like yourself, you're busy, you got the family, you got the kids. So how did you find the time commitment when it came to working with our seller leads?
yeah. It it was a lot easier to manage. Uh, so uh, I'm always getting I'm always getting Zoom links from Aaron, and they're on my Google Calendar. So I know when to expect. Like Zillow was always just calling me randomly. Like I don't want to
Hmm.
keep uh, calling out Zillow like that, but
Yeah.
having a structured appointment system with the marketing agency is great. And then as far as with the leads,
Yeah.
yeah, it was easier to create my own schedule, so
Hmm.
I can decide when I'm going to call them, or looking at the like an inbound phone call or an outbound phone call, and we can create a listing appointment, and we can show up on that day and time. So a more structured schedule uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
is made it much easier. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just being obviously a busy father, and balancing real estate and your investment properties, and I know I want to say what you got going on in your personal life. You got a ton of things going on, a lot of plates you're spinning. So did you ever find it overwhelming or too tough to manage in regards to the lead flow?
Yeah, I did
Hmm.
at a certain point.
Yeah.
There's like a 45-day span to where there's
Hmm.
too many leads coming in for me to answer my
Mm.
phone with handling
Hmm.
uh, some personal stuff with other life things, like you said. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, that did happen.
And I think that's important to know, right? I wanted to be honest about that because I know you and me chatted offline where there's a couple of periods where you're like, man, we're getting like a ton of lead flow. Like it's a
Hmm.
lot. So it's kind of funny when you think about it. You never ran paid ads before and you have no seller leads.
Hmm.
Then you're going to two, three, four, five a week. It can be a lot to manage, right? Especially when you have other things going on, right? So
Absolutely.
ultimately, at this point, though, how do you feel you're managing lead flow right now? I know we kind of paused a couple things. We got a couple things on YouTube on the move right now, but how are you finding it now?
It's good. It's good. It's and like you said, it's we're moving from paused back into it, so we're getting back into it. But
Hmm.
getting back into the flow of calling people at the same time, or reaching out to leads at the same time, is a good habit to
Hmm.
make. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, but it's good.
yeah. I think you and I
It's a
went
little
over
more manageable.
totally, and I remember you and I spoke about a couple strategies about just managing timelines better. So I think for anybody watching this, when you have a ton of lead flow with your current provider or whatever it may be, it's nice to have dedicated blocks where you tend to call your leads, right? So you may want to rotate whether one day on Mondays it's like 9 to 10 I call leads, and then on Tuesday it's like 5 to 6 p.m. And then if you ever get behind, Saturdays from like 10 to 12 are like that's one of the best times to catch a homeowner at their house.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
So if you're
Absolutely.
limited on time, just use those kind of off hours in the morning and then at nighttime just to try and catch them while they're at home. Right. So you and I strategize a little bit about that.
Yeah, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's it's relying on you for your guidance. Like I remember when we first started talking, I asked you, I was like, "What daily price do you recommend?" And I was
Mhm.
trying to go way over. And like looking back now, I would have wasted tons of dollars just because
Yeah.
way too many leads coming in. I was like, I need to hire an assistant or something because it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. So I remember for anybody watching this, Dylan came to me and he's like, "Man, I want to spend. I think you said like $80 a day, or like 90, like $80 or $90 a day." And I was like, "We don't need to do
Yeah,
that."
something way high. Yeah.
Yeah, and totally like we have people today spending 50, 60, 100, 150, whatever per day.
Hmm.
But it obviously depends on the lead flow you want. And then initially, right, what we do for any of our partners, we don't want to have you waste money, right? We want to make sure we
Hmm.
get you in the door, get your system running, see what your lead flow looks like. Once we have an idea of how many leads are coming in at, say, 40, $50 a day, at that point you can say, all right, great, here's my lead flow. I've maybe met a couple in person or I've closed one or two. Now let me ramp this up. So that's the strategy kind of you and I spoke about. So given that you worked with us for a little while now, it's been a handful of months here. I know you had some pretty crazy results right off the bat. I think you had like 1 week where I think you have the record for this, where you had 4 in-person appointments in 1 week. But tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about the results that you've kind of been able to get with us.
Four listing appointments in 1 week, which was crazy. Like that was my first time. That was my first time even approaching like listing appointments. So
Yeah,
I didn't even know that was like a crazy number. But
yeah,
um,
that's a crazy number. Just remember, that's 4 in-person appointments with
yeah,
people looking to sell their house in one single week. Not one
yeah,
appointment in 4 weeks, but 4 appointments in 1 week.
yeah, yeah, crazy, crazy to
What
think
was
about
what was your
now.
process there though? Like, what did you do differently that week compared to maybe the other weeks?
Stuck to the system that you and I built of just
Yeah,
calling at the same time. You hit the double dial.
yeah.
Um, always schedule that follow up appointment with them
Hmm.
and going over the scripts. And then once you get in person, I don't know. I don't remember, man. I'm
It was a little
trying
while ago at this
to.
point, and I
It's
think,
been a little bit of time. Yeah.
and then I think at that point it was what, like a few more weeks, and I think it was two of those that ended up closing. Hey, was it those two from that batch?
Yeah. So within the first 6 weeks, we
Hmm.
had two listing agreements signed, and then also we had four listing appointments scheduled, confirmed, and completed. That was all within the first month and a half, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, that is crazy. You saw a ton
Yeah.
of success right out the
Yeah.
gate.
Right
And
out
then
the
you let it
gate.
get, then
Yeah.
you let it get to your head. You're like, oh man, this I'm going too crazy. I'm booking too many appointments. I'm
Yeah.
gonna ease off the gas, eh?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like I need a sabbatical leave. Yeah.
Yeah, you saw results fast right out the gate. Now, given our service, you've been with us again for a little while now. We've transitioned strategies. We've done some custom things for you now on the YouTube side. But was there anything that maybe surprised you when it came to working with us in the first place?
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I mean, just the training and the it's a support system almost like
Hmm.
you know on a regular basis I'm communicating with you and we're going over scripts and how
Hmm.
to grow the business and strategizing and multiple different aspects. So I wasn't prepared for that. And then even since I've been working with you, uh, you're growing your operation and with multiple different networks and other agents coming in for training
Hmm.
purposes. It's so that was a big surprise in a good way. It was great, really.
Yeah,
Looking forward to a lot of
that's
that being
awesome.
used. Yeah,
Yeah, even like one of our guys in Cleveland, you had actually connected with too. Hey, just about some possible investment opportunities over there, if I remember
yeah,
correctly.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, just a good network of other agents and learning a lot. So it's
Yeah.
good.
Awesome. So given kind of how things have been so far, where do you maybe see things going for let's just say in the next 6 months, how do you see your business being affected because you're using Lead Gen Pros? Either in a positive way or even a negative way. I don't know. You tell me.
Um, yeah, I mean, I see it moving in a positive way. I'm actually looking to grow my team, so I'm looking at some team development with my
Hmm.
in North Carolina we call it broker in charge.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's what it's called anywhere else, but
Broker of
um,
record, I think in Canada.
broker of record. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's similar.
yeah, so we're going over structures of a team together, and I actually interviewed like a transaction coordinator recently, and I brought her on so I can kind of
Hmm.
hand off some of the challenging parts for me and
Hmm.
focus on what I find a little bit more enjoyable or I'm more successful at. So
Right.
just growing my operation and trying to handle the amount of incoming leads, so I don't get caught up in the same problem I did a couple months ago.
Yeah, there you go. So you're preparing for a ton of inbound seller leads, hey?
Yeah,
So you're ramping up
yeah.
the operations.
All right. Well, I got to clear my schedule for these listing appointments. You know.
Yeah, yeah, because you had too many.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Dylan, what would you say to anybody who's possibly on the fence of working with us?
I would say, hey, go for it, 100%. If you're going back and forth with Aaron or anybody on his team thinking about signing up, it's changed my business, and I've learned a ton, and it's a great opportunity, uh, for sure.
That's amazing, man. And just for anybody watching, I didn't pay Dylan to say this. He's on his own free
Yeah,
will here.
yeah, yeah.
You could blink twice if you're under duress.
I'm reading off the wall up here.
We're off a teleprompter somewhere.
Yeah, I'm reading my
Yeah,
email.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Aaron told me to say all this stuff. And Dylan, as we just wrap up here, man, any final thoughts you want to share to anybody watching this today, whether realtors or otherwise?
No, man. Your team has been great. I've learned a lot from you guys, and it's been extremely beneficial. I'm looking forward to growing the operation more with you guys. Really.
No, I love it, Dylan. Thank you so much for jumping on today for the last 15, man. And anybody watching this, hope you got a little bit of value. Dylan, if we wanted to find your channel, can we find you anywhere online?
No, no,
We're
not
gonna
right
change
now.
that. We're gonna change that. We're gonna change
Yeah.
that. So we're gonna get Dylan on YouTube Organic too, and we're gonna help him grow his channel from zero, no channel today, to help you get some views. And the funny thing is, Dylan actually found me through YouTube Organic. I don't know how many months ago, and here we are many months later. So thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. We will see ya in the next one.